Now, this is epic. Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album from Vltimas entitled Epic. This is the second full-length studio album and the first in nearly 5 years from this international blackened death metal supergroup, featuring Flo Monnier from Cryptopsy and Tribes of Pazuzu on drums, Rune Eriksson from Or Noir and Mayhem on guitar, and rounding out the whole thing on lead vocals is a full-blown American death metal icon and legend, David Vincent of Morbid Angel and Terrorizer fame. By the way, side note guys, I actually had the rare special opportunity to interview David Vincent here on the Metal Meltdown, so if you want to learn even more about this particular album from this particular band after having seen this particular video, may I suggest you go check that out. Anyways, Vltimas debut album, Something Wicked Marches In, dropped 5 years ago. I loved it back in the day. I was drawn to it because of David Vincent being involved. Like, he was the main reason I wanted to check it out, and I was not disappointed. I remember thinking to myself, I still kind of feel this way, but back then especially, I was like, this album is exactly what Morbid Angel should have dropped immediately after Illa Divinum Insanus, or maybe, frankly, even instead of Illa Divinum Insanus. Like, between David's, like, super fierce fucking vocals and all those, like, walls of churning, pulverizing, groove-laden death metal riffs, it really did have the spirit of, like, early mid-90s Morbid Angel, with some more technical patterns as well, some darker shades and soundscapes and some more twisted arrangements, some more, like, twisted, extreme guitar work as well. Honestly, looking back, maybe one of my favorite and maybe one of the more memorable kind of death metal, extreme metal releases from 2019. As a result, I was pretty excited for Epic, even despite it being called Epic. I have to admit, right off the bat, when I heard that album title, I was immediately a little concerned, and I may or may not have rolled my eyes ever so slightly. I may or may not have physically cringed just a fucking wee little bit. But hey, you know what? Don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes bands and albums have stupid fucking titles, like Job for a Cowboy. That's a dumb name. That's a really dumb name. But they make great music. Their new album, Moon Healer, is one of my favorites of 2024. Epic. Silly name, but I still enjoy it. I will say, I don't enjoy it as much as Something Wicked Marches In. And that has nothing to do with the name. I think we've already demonstrated that the name doesn't matter. This is just a bit. I think that Something Wicked Marches In is just a more consistent album from start to finish. I feel like it had stronger riffs all the way through. It was better written. It was more consistent and cohesive. I also kind of feel like David Vincent, you know, he's trying to do more vocally, and I respect that. I really do. But I don't know. It's a little goofy. Like actually goofy. Not calling your album epic level goofy, just actually goofy. Like, there are some pretty heavily exaggerated belting and crooning vocals across the album, and even some, dare I say, heavy metal-ish Jarl style vocal antics that I found very unnecessary and off-putting, and it just kind of pulled me out of the moment entirely. The track Misery even has David kind of putting a spin on clean vocals. To be clear, there is no big, massive, glossy pop chorus here. There's no falsetto vocals. This isn't like some Beauty and the Beast style melodic metalcore shit. His voice is still quite gruff and he still sounds quite menacing, but also he does have a more melodic tone. There's a little bit more variety in pitch, especially in the verse. You know what it kind of sounds like? Imagine if like a Broadway singer, or maybe like someone like Tim Curry in like the 80s tried to sing, like actually sing on like a death metal, thrash metal kind of cut. That's kind of what it sounds like. But hey, you know what? Warts and all, when Epic hits, it kind of hits. It kind of hits, maybe not crazy super hard, but just hard enough. You've got Exercitus Array, for instance, which is filled with fast-paced black death metal riffage. I like the tremolo-style guitar work especially, on top of these really old-school, beefy, muscular, kind of like mid-90s death metal beatdowns as well. There are some more dark and eerie shades and transitions across the cut as well that give this thing a little bit of atmosphere and weight without going into like weird artsy-fartsy and unnecessary territory. And vocally, too, this is a very strong and consistent and cohesive cut for David. I like the way that he's almost, like, ranting and raving in the actual chorus as those, like, really gnarly fucking grooves are coming down. Then there's Scorcher, which pretty much fully embraces like black metal style and spice and flavor and influence. It has a smoky, ritualistic, depraved kind of vibe and feel to it, which reminds me of like some late 90s Behemoth and also some early 2000s Mayhem. Love the use of like noisy, dissonant tones and textures and more unorthodox guitar patterns on top of like blast beats. Love David's use of these really dry, like shrieking black metal guttural vocals. Invictus is a really strong cut as well, with maybe one of the best choruses on the entire album. I really like the use of this more moody, minimalistic kind of like guitar melodicism, then transitioning into these like absolutely gnarly, brutal, pummeling assaults of blackened death metal, with David Vincent just bellowing out on top of it. The use of blackened thrash metal-esque riffage in some of the transitions and in some of the sections between verses and choruses is really cool as well. It gives this thing a little bit of extra heat and momentum. And though cuts like Spoils of War and Mephisto Manifesto are a little too slow for my personal liking, I'm still digging them because I like the variety in the guitar work. Like, both of these cuts sport a little bit of a doom metal underbelly, dare I say, and as such, there's some more epic, pounding, drudging riffage, and in the guitar solos especially, some glistening, soaring sections that honestly wouldn't be out of place on like maybe a Judas Priest record, albeit a Judas Priest record that is much darker in tone than your standard Judas Priest record, but I digress. I'm feeling a pretty solid 3.5 out of 5 on this. Again, I'm not as impressed with this as I was with 2019's Something Wicked Marches In, but overall, a really solid record. It's great to see Vltimas trying new things, taking influence from all of their collective experiences with Morbid Angel, Cryptopsy, Or Noir, Mayhem. If you really liked Something Wicked Marches In, I would recommend to check this out. If, like me, you're disappointed by modern-day Morbid Angel, and you think that this is the direction that Morbid Angel should be going right now, boom, there you go. Once again, you're welcome. I don't really have much more to say, so let's just start wrapping it up. Epic is not necessarily epic, but it is pretty good. 3.5 out of 5 is pretty good. It's alright. I dig it. It's fun. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you can get updates on the Metal Meltdown, just in case you somehow are not getting them already. Look, other videos. This one might be a David Vincent, the interview that I talked about. This one might be something else. I don't fucking know. I don't give a shit either. Watch it, whatever it is. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.